Mr. President, on Monday I came to the floor and discussed the rising price of gasoline and the additional increases that will result from the Boxer bill. These are not talking points. They are facts from several economic studies done by the EIA, the EPA, and many other groups. Later today I'll speak on the accomplishments that we have already had in working together to advance policies that will strengthen our energy security and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. We have not been asleep. We have done quite a bit. I will also speak about the bill before us and the many concerns I have about its effectiveness or lack thereof. Right now I want to speak on the impacts that this bill will have on the American economy. Like many senators, I believe that global climate change is a great challenge and that our nation should address. I joined Senator Bingaman in expressing that sentiment in a bipartisan Senate resolution 3 years ago. That doesn't mean that anybody has produced a bill or legislation that matched up, in my opinion, with the concerns. The way we're doing it in this bill is one way. It has never worked any place that it's been tried. I don't know why it should be expected to work in America. I have great respect for the senators who have drafted cap-and-trade legislation, but I remain deeply concerned about the steep costs, dire consequences that this bill will have on our nation's economy. I'm troubled that it will have a very little, if any, environmental benefit. And I think those who are continuing to say this is an absolute environmental necessity, that they will try to gather from the experts who have looked at it just how much environmental benefit will we get from this bill. The EPA has concluded, Environmental Protection Agency, that this bill would reduce global greenhouse gas by just over 1% by 2050. According to the IPCC own benchmark, such a reduction would reduce average temperatures by 1/10 of 1 degree Celsius in 2050. These rates of reduction are far below the levels needed to mitigate the most serious effect of global climate change. Now again, Mr. President, fellow senators, I am not up here just giving a speech. I'm trying to give you facts. If facts are the things that come from studies by experts, we have facts on this bill. And I repeat, the rates of reduction are far below the levels needed to mitigate the most serious effects of global climate change. I'm troubled by the various studies on this bill. Every one has concluded that it will increase energy prices, decrease economic growth, especially in a time of record energy prices and economic slowdown. Our nation simply can't afford this bill. Now that is not just speculation or clamor. It is a true probability that we cannot afford it. While these studies confirm that the bill will have a negative impact on our economy, they also reveal significant uncertainty as to what that impact will be. According to the CRA International, the only group that included the low carbon fuel standard in its study, motor fuel prices would increase by more than 140% by 2015. The EIA projects that the bill would reduce industrial activity by up to 7.4% by 2030. And the Heritage Foundation estimates that 600,000 jobs could be lost by 2026. Another cause for concern on the economic side are the estimates of the impact on the gross domestic product. While all studies project a negative impact on GDP, estimates vary from a low of $444 billion, I say to my friend the occupant of the chair, to a high of $4.8 trillion. That range of $4.5 trillion is as massive as it is inconclusive. It is equivalent to $15,000 for every American. A careful review of these studies should shake everyone inside of this chamber. We must realize that cap and trade is neither our best option nor the only option for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office Director recently testified that a rigid cap and trade program is up to 5 times less efficient than a carbon tax.
His time has expired.
One sentence and I'll quit. The experience of the European Union, which instituted an emissions trading system, should be highly instructive in this debate.